Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today in this video we are going to discuss about how AWS serverless works and how can we host our API node API using this technology. So we'll explore its uses and disadvantage, advantage and compare with the instances. So let's get started. So before dived into this technology, let's know about what is serverless. So actually serverless doesn't mean that there are no server. So instead it means you don't have to worry about the server management like storage, scalability and virtual machine and CPU parameters. So all you need to worry about like specifying its runtime, like your code in which environment you are running the code, like Python, nodejs. And because of this advantage, the serverless automatically replicates your virtual machine or program based on your API traffic and balancing the load efficiently. So because of this advantage, it is also the cost effective, and AWS offers a free tier of 1 million requests per month and resetting monthly, which is especially suitable for the small scale project. So how it works? So when you hit a request on the API gateway, a HTTP events get triggered and starting the process of compilation of the code and solves your request, like the which includes like fetching the data from the databases, and each request or event gets triggered, and because of this event and your code get compiled in a virtual machine and send back the data. So if your app is connected to the database, so when the serverless Lambda makes your code replicates, and each replica and it make a new connection to the database. The one of the disadvantage that it does not utilize your previous connection to build the database connection. So after completion of the request and it stop and the server get idle, so you only have to pay for each request and focusing on, so you only need to focus on your optimization of code. So if your code is not optimized, the server response become very slow to your request, and because of this complexity, the serverless Lambda is typically slower than the EC2 instances. And let's compare it with EC2 instances. So as already we discussed in previous video how the EC2 instances work. So in the EC2 instances, you manually choose all the server requirement and set up your virtual machines, like you upload your code and which runs all the time, and even with no traffic, instances gets running, and this can be less cost effective because the server is all time run. This can be very low cost effective. So however, you have to more control over your server configuration and can maintain your persistence connections, like the one disadvantage is like cold start latency. So when initial request can be slower because of the cold start means the server only gets started when you hit the request, other time it becomes idle. And this is short intro about the serverless Lambda functions. We'll do practical about this serverless Lambda, and we will host our node API in this serverless Lambda. So let's do some practical and deploy our node API in serverless Lambda. So I have found this article, and in this article it involves different steps to set up our AWS account and create a simple nodejs application and deploy our application on AWS serverless. We need to set up our AWS account. So I have already an AWS account. So inside AWS account, we need to create a user. So we should give that user a limited access, like about access about the API gateway and Lambda services. So I will go to the IAM section, and inside the dashboard, so you can see that is a different list of the users. And after that, you can go to the users and create a new user. You can give any name, like I will give serverless Lambda node API. And so you can have the different permission option, like you can add the user to the group, in that group where you have already defined your permission, and so copy the some permission like you have already created and attach with new policy. Here you can choose the different permissions, like Lambda, you can have S3 for your storage of your zip file code, and API API gateway. So mark all the checkbox and Lambda S3 Lambda read Lambda full access. So after the policies you have chosen, we can go to the next option. So inside the next option, create the new user. So this is the new user we have created. And so before proceed into our terminal access, so we have to create a access key for that user. So you can choose for use case CLI interface and go to the next option and serverless tag and create the access key. So this is your access key and secret key. Now after the second step, here we have to create the simple nodejs application. So to create the simple nodejs applications, so we have to install the serverless framework. So go to the list, create a folder, serverless node API and cd and go to open the VS Code terminal. Install the serverless globally. Install. And after the serverless installation, we have to set up our AWS credentials with serverless framework. Like key means your access key that we have already created here, and secret key means your secret key that we have secret access key that I've already created for this user. So serverless is already installed. So here you can hit the command serverless. So you can have the new project by selecting the template. So now we are going to select the nodejs express API and it will download the required template. I will give a name of services, serverless API. I have to give this dash. And we have option to create the new app. This is my already existing app. Now we are going to create a new app. Let's give the name of this app serverless node API. Okay, this is our setup boilerplate for serverless Lambda. So inside the serverless YML file, so this is our the configuration file where we have to give the provider name and services name and the functions we are going to define in our applications. So after that, inside the functions, when we hit the request on our server, so these functions inside the function mission or this event get triggers like HTTP event, and it goes to the handler file. And so inside the handler file we have defined different routes. When we hit this particular hello routes, and the inside the serverless Lambda, the function this get triggered and goes through this path and get back this response hello from this path. So let's deploy it. So before we are going to deploy, we have to set up the AWS configuration file. So this SSL configuration, I'll copy this code, paste it. So for the key, we have to provide our user access key. With that access key and paste it here. And inside the secret key, and we have to paste our secret access key, and we have to go to the serverless API, and inside that we have to add AWS credentials. After finishing this command, so we can see that a new serverless file folder is created where we have different meta.jsons data. Simply after that we have to only hit this serverless deploy command. So it first initialized our repository and packaged our code, like make our serverless API zip file and upload it into serverless Lambda. So where it goes, let's see. Lambda function. So after this successful completion of deploying, so it will create a functions inside our sections, and so it will take a certain time, and let's wait for it. Okay, the serverless deploy is finished, and inside our accounts we can see that a new function is created just now. And if we go to this folder, if we go to this function, we can see that this is the source code uploaded here, and this is the new API get is created. And when we triggered a HTTP event, and it goes to our serverless API, and inside that it compiles our code and send back a response. So also we can test here, like let's create the new event, test event, and save and invoke here. So we can see that new module, this is not found, new HTTP module is not found. So we have to just install node, write npm install. It will install our required packages like Express and serverless HTTP, and after that again we to go to the serverless deploy. Okay, our compilation is finished, so we can see that. Let's do refresh. This node module field, node modules got uploaded, and when you test, you can see that message hello from the route. And if we get test from this URL, we can see that a new response is coming from our server. So let's connect this serverless API with our Express applications. Just create app.js. As inside that we will define our different routes, and we will export that. Module dot exports our app. So this app means we have used the different routes, and this express route will set up our handler inside const express equal to express, and we'll need to install the one package, that is AWS serverless express, that connect our express application into the serverless framework. And let's install this package, and after that, so we'll need to create one file, like we have already created the handler.js, and inside that we have to paste this code. So you have to require this file, inside the file this, so file path is okay. And after that handler, two parameters, one is event and one is context, and based on this event, context is fetched from this server. The server is the app server we have created inside this app.js. We have to deploy our serverless app. When we build our projects, we have the different environment variables, so securely store our environment variables. Serverless framework also provides some variable storage, environment variable storage sections, section like this framework. So when you go to the tools option, we can show we can go this file like environment var file. So now we don't have any environment variable. To add the environment variable, configuration, and inside here we have environment variable, and we can just add like port 800, just the example. And if we save here, and again if you go to the code and tools and show our variables, so new variable is added. And similarly we have different options. You can define one trigger event and different permissions like database, like we can connect a database through here, NoSQL database, and different monitoring tools and serverless Lambda. So here we can see that our endpoint get deployed. So we have get this response from this URL. So in this way you can set up your project. And one option is that you can define your own events, and like now that it listens all the HTTP events. Like for the method or different post requests, you can set up their own events and deploy your application in serverless. Yeah, that's it.